I'm Richard.
I'm Heidi.
And we're the Card Game Guys, the internet's premier source for DC deck building game content. Welcome back to part 4 of our multiverse game, which is the conclusion.
Yeah, we actually see an end and find out who won and who lost.
At the end of the last game, we happened to see Steven hit 3 suicide squads and force us all to discard our hands.
Although that was technically based on doing something wrong. Sorry.
Yes, but because of being Starfire, courtesy of Telos, I was able to get Hollis Mason and actually get 3 power and do something with my turn, which made it somewhat interesting. Now we'll see what... And Doug, unfortunately, was able to do nothing with his turn with no hand. So now we're back to Steven.
Imagine that. No hand.
Yeah, it's weird how that works. One thing I would like to touch on. In the last episode, I started to explain that there's a little bit of a rules question/tension about Deimos. Now, you'll see in his stack ongoing that it says, at the end of each player's turn, add a card from the main deck to each lineup. And then there's more. But then there's multiverse rules that say that when a card is supposed to go into the lineup from the main deck, it should come from the set to which the event's lineup belongs. Now we see another incident of Steven forgetting that there's electromagnetic pulse and his equipment doesn't do anything. So back to the Deimos thing. So the cards in the event lineup shouldn't be coming from the main deck, but should be coming from the... trying to remember which set the event lineup was from.
Okay, so they should be coming from a different stack you've got.
Yes,
okay.
But then there's the question of, I don't think that that's the intention with Deimos, just because of the rest of his stack ongoing, which is if the main deck runs out, Deimos wins the game. So it's a question of, did they want it to be 2 cards from that lineup, or from that main deck hitting every turn? Do they want it to be that kind of a timer? Or is it supposed to be 1 card from that main deck and then 1 card from the set that the rest of the cards are belonging to, the event lineup? So
sure.
Yeah, it's a question of, I'm not sure if how they intended Deimos to work. For this game, we had missed the rule in the rule book about if cards are going into the event lineup, they should come from the set to which the event lineup belongs. So we did it this way, and it seemed to work just fine. It might be a little too brutal in some games, so it might be intended the other way. So it's a little bit of not perfect clarity. Oh no. It was a good play because he's trying to set up the equipment thing, but it's not something he's allowed to do.
Yeah, you guys really just... It was like that rule just sort of went out.
Like I said, there's 4 cards that we're trying to keep track of affecting everything that we do, and it just is a little bit much for us, apparently.
No, I just find it interesting that it's that particular one that everyone's just like out of sight, out of mind.
We're keeping track of the other 3, though.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Bizarro World, not a good card. Just because you're getting just random garbage all the time.
Okay.
And half the time you're hitting like a crossover set where the cards are not going to interact very well with what's going on in the game.
Okay.
And yeah, you have no control over anything.
Okay.
But it's really fun to play with. That whole anticipation of what random card from random set am I going to hit? You know, you could hit Princess Diana of Themyscira and get, 5 villains out of the lineup.
So you're saying that someone who loves playing as Shazam would like this? The randomness?
I think so, assuming they also like hoarding weaknesses and have Bizarro in their deck. Because the cost is pretty steep of when you buy it, you gain 2 weaknesses right straight up. If you don't already have Bizarro, it's not very appealing.
Okay. So a lot of people are going to hate that card.
Yeah, and I think at a cost of 4 power and gaining 2 weaknesses, its cost is a little steep, considering that it rarely does much. I mean, it turns your one weakness a turn into something that might be useful, but I have gotten next to no use out of it this game besides, 1 power and, I saw the top card of everybody's deck. So I did teamwork somebody once.
Okay. Okay, an attack.
Well, that's Bane. It's part of Doug's shtick this game, is he's been hitting Bane like that's the only card in his deck.
I know, I just looked at the screen and went attack and went, what am I missing? While in our discussion.
Yes. Oh, and here he manages to trigger Flashpoint Gotham City again, and sure, he's attacking me with Brother Blood, of course. Well, to be fair, keeping me weak is his best chance of winning the game. Well, because I'm the only person who can attack his champion.
No, but I was going to say, at this point, aren't you guys starting to get a little desperate about beating the Crisis?
Yes, we've been frantic for a long time about this. We're starting to wonder if we're ever going to be able to pull this off, or what's going to have to happen. There's a lot of tension at the table right now.
And people are wondering, why didn't we get equipment?
Well, except that we've all got equipment now, and it's just not turning out. It's not showing up in our hands when we need it to. So now we have the fun interaction of Dawnstar causing a bunch of us all of us to discard the top cards of our decks and see what we can get. But of course, it's cleverly worded that it doesn't actually interact with Deadshot, though, because they're put in the discard pile rather than being quote-unquote discarded.
And I was thinking that you guys had to be getting kind of worried about getting enough equipment.
Yes, we definitely are.
So, is the game going to beat you guys?
That's entirely possible, which would be very interesting to happen in a non-cooperative game. Ooh, now we see Brainiac in action here. Oh, that's an interesting hit. He hits Telos and gets Wonder Girl added to his array of superheroes.
Okay.
Now we see Swamp Thing, a huge play. 5 locations, 10 power.
So he's got 23 power. He could end the game, except for if he does, everyone loses.
Yes, he could choose to make us all lose right now and take out Deimos.
Does he do that?
Well, you'll just have to wait and see.
Like 5 seconds, I realize I'm just saying I don't know, how would you feel if that was you in that situation?
I would be very frustrated, and Steven was very frustrated.
Like, oh, this could be great for me. But, wait, it's not.
So, even though I was commenting earlier about how unlikely it was to hit 23 power in a turn, you can see it's not impossible.
Yeah.
So, those of you who might be playing the Multiverse game have hope. It is possible to score enough power to defeat Deimos.
And so, yeah, he's just going to town shopping.
Yeah, that's kind of what you have to do when you've got 25 power and can't use it on a supervillain, because you'll lose the game if you do.
And a cheat again, huh?
I think it was just sloppy math.
Okay. But still.
Now we see Matthew using his Rorschach ability to pick the top card of Steven's deck, even though was in the middle of shuffling, and he turned up a vulnerability anyway.
Okay. And you guys still don't have equipment. I know.
Well, you can see Matthew had 2 of them there.
I know, I meant all of you.
Yeah.
And I know I'm harping on it. It's just more that it's...
Well, believe me, we were harping on it just as much at the table.
Okay, your turn.
And the Joker, which is completely worthless because all he does is make attacks to give opponents weaknesses, and the weaknesses are all gone.
Okay.
Now, Constantine is an interesting one. You can see that you can destroy a decent card and get its VPs, which I'm doing because I got hit 3 good cards on there, so nothing that I actually wanted to destroy.
Okay.
But I picked Heat Vision to be the one to destroy and get 2 VPs out of that. Because I definitely didn't want to destroy Bizarro right now, because that would have been bad. I have a lot of weaknesses.
So you didn't have a choice. You had to destroy something?
Yes. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. One of them gets destroyed, one of them goes to your hand, one goes back on top of your deck.
Okay.
And now there is a nice pull. I actually got something there out of Bizarro World, getting Superwoman with 12 villains in the destroyed pile. So I got 12 power. So maybe I shouldn't have been so hard on that card last time around.
No, you're not saying that it can never be good. It's just more that it's erratic.
Yes, quite. For every time you hit, Superwoman in that situation, you're hitting 2 +1 power cards that are doing next to nothing.
Okay. So you're buying a bunch of cards.
Yeah, because I had a bunch of power and I couldn't beat Brother Blood or we all lose.
Okay, because if you still... Yeah. You're saying...
Because Crisis on Infinite Earths is still in play, and it says quite clearly on the left side of your screen,
No,
if the
I'm
game
saying...
ends while this is in play, everyone loses.
Right.
Now we see Icicle being played by Doug, and I think I misrepresented what he does in an earlier episode. Yeah, he just, no attack, no nothing, just boom, turn your superhero face down. Which, given that I had 3, is kind of brutal.
Okay.
And now here's Doug with enough power to win the game if he only could not lose the game by trying to win the game.
Now, I noticed that when Matthew starts playing his hand and Steven is still shuffling, were you guys checking in with each other every time someone would get a new hand and seeing if...
Yes. Oh, we were completely on top of that, yeah.
Okay.
You'll notice Matthew didn't play any of his equipment until Steven was done.
Okay.
Speaking of Steven, wow, he's got a strong setup going here. He's got first time he plays a time travel card, first time he plays a villain, first time he plays a hero.
Okay.
If he plays 2 cards from different sets, all of those trigger drawing a card. And given that he's already Indigo 1, playing a villain now gets him 2 cards. And it managed to get him an equipment, so we can finally beat that Crisis and get rid of Electromagnetic Pulse and Crisis on Infinite Earths. So the game is once again playable.
By playable, you mean maybe we could actually win.
Yes. Now at this point, we actually think there's a chance to not have Deimos win the game.
Right.
And you can see through all the little things popping up how Steven's setup is actually coming together pretty well. Where playing Robin got him +1 power extra from him and drawing a card. And then of course he hit the Black Lantern ring, but he decided to keep the 2 power instead of trying to go for a villain out of the destroyed pile. He did look through that, so
Okay.
he had an idea of what he was doing. But he realized that none of those were going to be as good as what he was probably going to be getting out of the lineup. Because he's got his eyes set on that Man of Steel. He's excited about that, I think. Plus, now he's going ahead and using a transmutation to get Suicide Squad when he's already got a couple of those. So that's going to be a lot of VPs for him.
Okay.
So he's got with Computo going, that Man of Steel only costs him 4 because he's also got the Multiverse Brainiac, where he pays 1 less for everything in the event lineup.
Sorry, question for you. That
Yes.
attack that made you turn all of your...
It wasn't an attack.
Well, non-attack.
Yes.
How do you get them turned back up again?
At the end of my next turn.
Okay. It's not quite
So you may have noticed Steven had enough power to have defeated Batman, my champion, but that wouldn't do him any good because then Doug would win because of the last man standing rule in the Multiverse Box, which is whoever's the last person left with a champion wins the game. So Steven and Matthew don't want to be attacking a champion because then they'll give the game to Doug.
Okay, so then why did Steven attack Matthew's last champion earlier?
Because there were still 2 other people left with champions.
Okay.
It's only if there's only 1 person left with a champion that person wins.
Right, no, but I mean, if yours are all defeated, does it become kind of pointless to, in a certain sense, be helping someone else potentially win rather than yourself?
It's still, a 5 or 6 VP card, and you're hoping that the game comes down to VPs.
Okay.
With Deimos whittling away at the main deck, you never know how things are going to go there. Of course,
I'm not
that runs
disagreeing
out.
with you. I'm
We all
just
lose, but
talking about why. I mean, because I could see people going either way.
sure. But if somebody beats Deimos, it comes down to VPs. So Steven, of course, wants to be ready for that and position himself for VPs, because once you're out of your champion, you can't win last man standing anyway.
Right. I know.
Well, clearly we would play this particular game differently from each other. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, last time I checked it, when I do play against you, you and I play differently from each other.
Well, I mean, specifically in the context of the multiverse game. We would have different opinions on how to play this. Now, here's something you'll never see again. Somebody playing T-Spheres and naming weakness. Because I'm hoping to hit something good off of Bizarro World, because I'm naive like that. Or I'm riding the high from getting Superwoman. We get rogues. Let's see what we can do here.
Okay. What are you going to get out of that deck?
Tornado, which interestingly is exactly what I would want, because it gives me an attack to look at Doug's hand and pick a card and put it on top of his deck. So on the off chance Doug has something that resembles a block, or could be used in place of a block or anything like that, I can get rid of it, because what I want to do is beat Brother Blood this turn.
Okay, so that was your plan.
Yes. Which I was very excited about, because I had Ra's al Ghul for exactly what I picked him up for, to get that green arrow out of the destroyed pile.
Okay, so you knew you had a bunch of heroes, an extra VPs from that.
Not that it's going to end up mattering if I can get to 11, which you might notice I already am at.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Although here I kind of mess up and don't spend that 4 power, so here we go. I am the winner. I have the last champion, which is kind of ironic because I was the first one to be down to 1 champion. Yes, this is an interesting question. Who would have won?
Yeah, what were the victory points?
It was the opposite of close. It was really kind of embarrassing.
Oh, well,
Steve had just demolished all of us, so yeah, wow, if it were a different game, Steven would have run away with it, but for the multiverse game, this is how it works. Thank you for joining us. We are the Card Game Guys. Come play with us.